Hello guys, I'm back from another video on today which is about what if Deku was an Oni. So in the last video we talked about how after being consumed by his rage, he would start transforming into his, more Oni-like state, which I'm calling the Oni state, where he basically started crushing some of the villains that invaded the UA Sports Festival. So, after basically bashing the brains of one of the Nomus, he would start charging towards a certain crusty old face by the name of Shigaraki, which he used his Kanabo-like hand to basically start bashing him in, basically ruining his face forever. I mean, his face is already ruined because of his crusty-ass lips, so, after that, a certain girl by the name of Ibarra would basically try and stop him, as she would calm him down thanks to her, supposed love and also God's love. So, after that day, some of the teachers and also the staff at the school would basically start thinking of ideas to basically protect the kids ever since the attack on the, UA Sports Festival. As Principal Nezu would explain that he's planning on making a dormitory for mostly students that are planning to become heroes. After basically thinking about it, they would decide to do it. So, after basically telling the parents of some of these students, including Ibarra's parents, actually not technically because after all her parents are basically dead, but let's just ignore that. But more importantly, the parents of Izuku and Kinako. So, after packing up all of their things, they start moving to go to UA to go to their new dorms. So, after arriving there, they would see, several students, including some of their classmates basically going into the dorms, including a large truck which apparently, was housing Momo Yaoyorozu's stuff. Which makes sense after all, she is a rich girl, so why not give her lots of stuff, so why not? So, after a while packing up all of their things and basically putting them up in their new rooms, they started going into the living quarters and realizing that Bakugo's not here. Apparently, Bakugo decided to not join because of his parents, decided not to because, after all, because of his personality and his, general assholetry, it makes sense that nobody wants to stay with him. And also, another reason is because, his temper. So, yeah. So, after that day, everybody would basically fall asleep. Not before, Ibarra deciding to maybe try and, get into, Izuku's room. Mostly to, take a nap with him. Or in this case, sleeping with him. So, yeah. So, that is basically what happened last episode. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku would basically wake up after basically a night of sleeping, as he would feel a body almost right next to him. As Izuku would say this, I didn't remember anybody sleeping with me. Wait a minute. Somebody sleeping with me? I meant, somebody sleeping with me? As he would lift off the blanket, as he would see that it's Ibarra. And not only that, Ibarra is basically wearing, her pajamas, but quite loosely. Izuku can clearly see her, chest melons. And her, little... Let's just continue. As Izuku would start blushing profusely as Ibarra would wake up hearing the noises, as she would say this. Oh, hey Izuku. What in the... Wait, did I guess so. As Izuku would say this, what are you doing in my room? And wait, I thought you had your own... As she would say this, well, I was a bit afraid, so why not sleep with my... As she would start coming closer and puts her hand on his chin, saying, why not do it and sleep with you, my future husband? As Izuku would hear this, as he would say this, wait, husband... He would start stuttering as she would say this. Oh yes, why not? She would basically start coming closer and closer. As she would start, licking her lips. As a person would basically burst down the door as he would say this. This person being Kirishima. This person by the name of Kirishima would say this. Hey, Izuku, are you awake? We're planning on making bread. As he would see both Izuku, well, basically a blushing mess, with Ibara basically just like, wearing her, pajamas, but a bit loosely. As, well, Kirishima would say this. I think I might have bothered somebody and, you know, actually I should probably be leaving. Bye, as he would basically disappear. As Izuku would say this. Wait, I can explain. Oh no. So, yeah. After that little, moment in time, they would basically be in the dining room table as everybody's basically eating, as one of them specifically, well, Kirishima would say this. So, how was your night together? As when one of them would hear this, being, Kinako, she would say this. Yeah, Izuku, what is that supposed to mean? As Izuku would say this. Well, I don't really remember all that much. As, Ibara would say this. Well, one night I was a bit, scared, and I kind of decided to go to his room. After all, we are childhood friends, so why not? As, Kiriko would say this. Alright, that's absolute bull. As she would say this, being, Ibara. What? Why not? I mean, he's not really that scary, and besides, with his warm grip and warm embrace, it would make sense. As, Kiriko and, Ibara would start arguing as all of the girls are basically, like, looking at them, and the boys basically just, like, giving off this, like, smug smile, looking towards, Izuku, as Izuku would say this. I didn't do anything with her, I swear. As one of them specifically, a certain purple bald guy or whatever, as this person by the name of Mineta would say this. Are you sure about that? Because I definitely see something black into your, something dark purple on your, on your neck. As everybody would see that he has, a hickey. As all of the girls basically just like, did she, as all of the guys would say, did she, as Kiriko would say this, did you, as, Ibara would say this, well, I was a bit tired at the night, and I was feeling a bit warm inside, so I decided to mark him. As Izuku would say this, I didn't remember any of this, as one of them specifically, Kiriko would basically look at him with this almost cold stare, as she would say this. We should be leaving. After all, class is about to start. As Izuku can clearly see that she's really, really, really ass bad. So, after that day, or at least that moment, everybody started going back to class. So, the day was pretty simple, until everybody was told that they should get ready because, wait for a second, that they should be preparing for, well, joining a hero, what's that called? Yeah, a hero agency, yeah, I kind of forgot for a second. So, everybody was told that they should get ready because they should be joining a hero commission for their next assignment. Because apparently, after the whole, thing, specifically the UA Sports Festival, everybody is going to be joining, or at least, like, participating in a hero's, daily life, or more specifically, joining a hero, agency, so they can learn how to become heroes themselves. Because why not? After all, they should learn from the best, or at least the ones that are, deciding to maybe, like, let them join their agencies. So, as requested, everybody was given large papers that they're going to be, writing on to pick which agency that they're going to be joining. In Izuku's case, he would find that so many people decide to, ask for his help and also maybe ask for him to join their, agencies. And as for Bakugo would somehow get, one, even though he got, um, you know, second place, which Bakugo was pissed at, thinking that somebody like, Izuku should not have, gotten so many, requests for his, help. As everybody was told that they should be learning how to get their hero names. Not really learning how to get, as in, like, should be making their hero names right now, because every single hero should have a hero name, because they're going to be becoming heroes soon, and not only that, very, very soon. So, as Midnight would arrive, she would say that they should be going onto, like, a piece of paper or something like that, and saying their hero names and the reason why they decided to pick it. So, as everybody is basically going up to their, specific. Wait for a second. As everybody's going up to the, large, like, stage or whatever, to basically show off their hero names, some of their hero names were quite, flamboyant to say the least. As when it's Izuku's turn, Izuku would basically say this. I'm the hero that speaks in darkness, or otherwise known as the one and only, as he would show off his hero name as he would scream out this. They call me the Oni hero, otherwise known as Oishi, as everybody would hear that name, as they think it's quite a nice name, which, well, Midnight would ask, so what is that name supposed to mean? As he would say this, well, it's Japanese for Blue Death. I mean, it makes sense, after all, my hero costume mostly consists of blue. I mean, my tattoos are blue. And death because, why not? As one of them would say this, being, Kinako. I think your name is a bit much, but it actually works. As all of them would agree, including Midnight. So, anyway, as all of you decide to pick your hero names, everybody should probably get outside. So, as everybody's basically going outside, everybody would meet up with the respective heroes that they decided to pick with, as they were given their, addresses for their, hero agencies. As for Izuku, Izuku would meet up with a certain hero by the name of Stormcutter. This is actually going to be like a random like hero that I made up. This hero is basically like a samurai. He basically his quirk is basically just swords. More specifically, he's able to create swords made out of wind. Basically like Kazuha from I think it's from Genshin Impact. He's from Genshin Impact basically. And also it's pretty much a hint for one of my other series that's probably gonna come out very soon. Maybe. If you vote on it at least. So, as everybody's basically meeting up there with their, respective heroes from their respective agencies, Izuku would be given his, address to his agency, as he would say this. I can't believe that you decided to join my agency. I mean, I thought you're probably gonna go for like Edgeshot or something like that. As he would say this. Well, I've been working on my swordsmanship for a long time now, so why not teach from a hero like you? I mean, you're basically just a samurai, just like, kind of like me. As he would say this. Very well then, Oishi. As he would say this. Very well. So, as all of them would basically start leaving and start preparing to go to their respective agencies. As for Izuku, Izuku would start running on a, train with Ida, which apparently Ida is planning on going to his, brother's agency. Brother's agency, which apparently his brother apparently got into an accident with the certain, hero killer. So, after going to their, respective stops, Izuku would arrive going to, wait for a second, to Kazuha, which that's the actual name of the hero, which I'm just going to be calling him that from now on because it's a bit easier. Kazuha's, agency. After meeting up with Kazuha, they would start training and also patrolling the city, which was pretty much, just an uneventful day at all. So, Izuku's been learning under him, which he started learning how to make his swords, or more specifically, his like sword stances, a little bit more easier to use, and not only that, training on how to use his sword much better. He's been also learning how to use his, this, specifically his kanabo, with the best of his abilities. He told him that any type of weapon can be kind of like a sword, if you, train enough at least. So, Izuku started using his kanabo almost like a sword, as he would learn a lot, and I mean a lot about, about swordsmanship mostly. But he also learned how to be more stealthy, and learned how to, strike at opponents', vital spots. So mostly the heart and also the brain, which he learned quite effectively. He also learned how to basically crush the joints of enemies, basically stopping them from, basically moving. So yeah, after these 5 eventful days, or at least uneventful days, they would have their last day in this city. So they will have one last patrol as everybody is just, doing their normal jobs. Until apparently a villain attack happens. Apparently the League of Villains attacked one part of the city because of something important. So, Izuku would be purported to this by, Kanaha or Kazuha or whatever, to go there with the help of another hero and one of his classmates. Specifically, well, Endeavor and Shoto Todoroki. Todoroki would be surprised that he decided to join this, wait for a second. Surprised to see him in this agency because he thought that he's probably gonna go for like somebody high ranking, as Endeavor would think that this boy, well, he's kind of angry at him. Because he does know after, the whole events of, I think it was the third episode of this series, yeah, the third episode of this series, that he's basically the Oni. And after learning from, Prince Obuneze that he doesn't remember anything about, his past, and now basically forgotten all of the tragedies that he basically caused, well, Endeavor is still pissed at him, but pretends to just, ignore him. Even though he's quite interested in him. Mostly because, he's pretty much powerful, and not only that, quite a looker, let's just say that. And he's maybe planning on, I don't know, maybe marrying him off to his, daughter, aka Fuyumi, but still, maybe not yet. So, after a few days of basically, not really a few days, more like a few hours of basically going to that, specific part of the city, they arrive as they see several Nomus basically causing a bit of trouble. So, Izuku would basically goes into a sword stance, which he learned from, Kazuha, as he would charge up, as he would scream out, Ishina Dai Tensho! As he would basically start flying at supersonic speed, slicing through all of the Nomus. Endeavor would start burning them alive thanks to the notion that these things are no longer human, so he's okay to basically kill them. So, wait for a second. Todoroki would start burning them alive and also freezing them thanks to the help of, Izuku basically distracting some of them so he can basically kill the rest of them. Izuku would basically just start slamming through them instantly, as he would throw off his kunai at supersonic speeds, basically slicing through them, and basically impaling them to the wall. And as for the rest of the villains would basically start running away in fear thanks to the whole notion that he's basically overpowered as hell. Some of the villains would basically start escaping as Shigaraki would look in horror that he sees the person that basically ruined his freaking face. So, Shigaraki's a bit different now. Now wearing bandages all over his body ever since the whole fight in the UA Sports Festival. And not only that, he's now on a wheelchair because of the whole beating thing. As he would say this, that brat, he's here! Break out the Nomus, kill him, I want him dead for what he did to my goddamn face! As, a certain, fog-faced, guy or butler or whatever, aka, Konagiri would bring out several of the Nomus to basically try and kill, Izuku. The Nomus would basically start charging in once again to basically start, attacking Izuku. But thanks to the training, he would basically start slicing through them easily. And thanks to help with this Kanabo, he would start crushing the little ones, or more specifically the little Nomus, with some ease. As while he's basically fighting them, he would see Konagiri and Shigaraki, as he would say this, "Oi, handsy over there," as Shigaraki would look over and see Izuku mocking him, as he would say, "So, what happened to your arms and legs?" "Oh wait, I know. It's probably because of me." As he would look over, as he would start getting a little bit mad. Actually, not even a little. It's more like a lot. As he would say this, "Konagiri, I want that kid dead." As he would say this, yes. As he would summon out more Nomus, which the Nomus would gladly start killing Izuku, but Izuku would start slicing through them easily as he would start running toward Shigaraki once again, getting ready to slam his sword into his face. But Shigaraki would be saved by Kodagiri, as Kodagiri would put his sword, or more like teleport his sword away from being stabbed by, um, being stabbed into Shigaraki's face. As Izuku would, bring back his sword, as he basically gets out his Kanabo, as he would basically slam it into Shigaraki's, face. He was a bit too fast for that liking, and so when Shigaraki basically came out of his wheelchair, basically crawling on the ground, well, a certain, Konagiri would basically teleport him back to the base. And as for Konagiri, he would teleport away saying, "Ah, you really are strong. But, unfortunately, we're already done here." As he disappears. So, the rest of the heroes would basically defeat the rest of the villains, as Izuku would start running towards one of the back alleys to go back to his, group. As he would see a certain blue-haired boy, aka, Ida, being beaten down by a certain, wait for a second, a certain hero killer, as he would say this. Another fake hero, I'm guessing. As he would say this. "So, I'm guessing you're the hero killer, right?" As he gets out his sword into a fighting stance, as he would say this. "Another fake hero. You're gonna die here just like the rest of these so-called heroes, these fake ones." As he would say this. Fake? As he would start looking at, Ida, as Ida would say this. "I'm trying to get my revenge for what you did to my brother." As he would say this. "Seriously, Shoto? You're pretty much outmatched. And besides, getting revenge? You shouldn't leave it up to heroes to basically save your brother's, ass. Or maybe even try to, I don't know, maybe not try and fight him in the first place." As he would say this. "But my brother must be avenged." As you would say this. "Look, even though I know that type of revenge thing or whatever is probably your style, but it ain't my style. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna be defeating him." As he would bring up his sword, as he would say this. "So, hero killer, or is that even really your vigilante name?" As he would say this. "No, I am a stain on society, a stain in this world. You may call me Stain." As he would say this. "Well then, Stain. And as for you, hero over there," as he would look over and see a hero, as he would say this. "Yes, kid. It hurts." As he would say this. "May I have permission in taking that bastard down?" As he would say this. "Gladly. But why do you ask permission for that?" As he would say this. "Well, I may be planning on getting the credit. After all, I do need to make my hero career a bit more fun, I guess. And besides, the more publicity, the more my ranking will probably get up in, the fewer years." As he would say this. "Smart kid. Anyway, go get him. As Izuku would basically go into a fighting stance, as I meant Konagiri, I meant, Stain would start charging towards him at lightning fast speeds. As he would say this. Just like me, eh? As he would basically clash sword to sword, metal to metal, man to man. Izuku would start charging towards him as he would bring out his kanabo. He would slam it against slam it against the ground where Stain basically, was in. But he basically just ran away. As not Konagiri, I meant, god damn it, I meant Stain would start to basically bring out several knives and throw it at Izuku. Izuku would start slicing them apart, basically just almost like butter. As, well, Stain would say this. How? Abusing, you damn fake hero. As he would say this. Sorry, but why do you even call me a fake hero in the first place? As he would say this. You are blinded by this society that calls these heroes heroes, when they're nothing more than bastards. As he would say this. Oh, I get it now. As Izuku would basically put his kanabo on his shoulder, as he would say this. I realize now what you're thinking about. You basically hate heroes because sometimes they can be a bit of a bitch, to say the least. As he would say this. I mean, you're not wrong. You are right. I want to change this world of inequality. I want to make this world a better place, without these damn fake heroes. And the only hero that I believe in, that is declared as the number one hero, the greatest hero ever to be existed in this entire world. This hero is All Might. That hero, that person is a true hero. As he would say this. I mean, you're wrong. I mean, you are right, but still. You're a bit like a bit of a devout follower. As he would say this. You are right. And as for you, young hero, you so-called hero, I will defeat you honorably. I can definitely see that your style is similar to Konoha. I meant not Konoha, I meant Kazuha. As he would say this. You are right. I mean, I decided to join his internship because I'm a bit of a swordsman myself. As he would say this. I can see that. Now, unsheath your blade, and let us fight to the bitter end. As he would say this. With pleasure. As he would unsheath his sword, as he would scream out, Ishina Taitensho! As for, Stain, he would start charging in as, well, he would swing past him. Being, Izuku swing past, wait for a second. Slicing it past Stain. After slicing him, he would basically sheath the sword. As for, him, he would basically drop to the ground, signaling that he was the winner. So, as the police arrived, they would start bringing, Native and also Ida back into their, ambulance, as they would start asking Izuku what happened. He would explain that he basically defeated the hero killer, as they would say, do you have permission to use your quirk? As he would say this. Hey, Native. As Native would say this. Yeah, I allowed him to use his quirk. Just give him the credit. He did save me after all. As the officer would say this. You really are a good kid. Even though you kinda look like a demon. As you would say this. Yeah, I get it a lot. It doesn't really matter though. The only thing that I care about is becoming a hero. As the man would say this. Quite an honorable dream. But why though? As he would say this. I want to show the world that even people like me, deserving of love, deserving of friendship, I guess. As he would say this, being the, officer. Anyway, you'll be given all of the credit, and maybe even the news might report on this. Even though, because you basically saved, Native, But not only that, you basically defeated the hero killer, and now he's gonna be brought to justice. As you would say this, yeah, yeah, officer, see ya. As he would basically start moving back to where he, basically came from. So, Kazuha would basically be in his desk as after the whole incident in the, in the city, they would basically start leaving. Or more specifically, Izuku would start leaving to go back to his, UA dorms because the internship is finally over. So, after that day, he would basically start leaving and going back to UA. After getting back to the dorms, everybody would explain what happened to them during their internships. Apparently, Ibarra was apparently going to be a superstar on the news. Apparently, she defeated one of the heroes, or more specifically, a rogue hero that was basically causing trouble, and showed the world how he basically caused an entire family to basically die. And as for, Kineko, she's actually going to be a fashion model. Apparently, in her internship, she had to be a model for a photo shoot and a commercial. Izuku was basically happy for her, and all of them would start looking at Izuku saying, "So you basically defeated the hero killer? That's awesome," says, wait for a second, said Kirishima, as both of the girls, specifically, Kineko and, Ibarra would say this. "Izuku, that's amazing." As Izuku would say this, "Yeah, yeah, enough of the praise. Besides, I just defeated the hero killer. It's nothing that special." As all of them would start looking at Izuku as they would say this. "Are you crazy? I mean, the hero killer basically killed several heroes and you basically brought him to justice." As Ibarra would say this. "Yeah, you did. That's my husband for you. My future husband, to be more precise." As Kiriko would basically start looking at her angrily, as, well, Ibarra would start glaring at her, as they would see that, their rivalry, or wait for a second, rivalry, is still basically happening, as all of the girls, except for Kineko and Ibarra, would think in their minds, "Yep, I can definitely see that both of them obviously like Izuku." As Izuku would say this. "Anyway, I'm gonna be getting some sleep now. Besides, after that training during those, days in the internship, well, I'm pretty much tired. So, see ya, guys." So, after he got back to his room, he would flop down onto the bed as he would fall asleep. So, that is basically the end of the episode. So, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!